Hey everyone!
Good morning, friends.
Yes, good
Welcome
morning.
to another edition. Miss Michaela, I feel like you're so distant.
I know we want to be socially distanced because we're still in COVID times.
Yes, we are, unfortunately. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of BARCLAY Talks,
Woo!
the midday morning BARCLAY Talk show where we talk to some past guests, some past alumni, some of your favorite BARCLAY people, and just have a rip roaring good time hearing their side of the BARCLAY story, if you know what I mean.
Right.
I'm sure many of you have your own stories out there, and if you want to share it with us, please, by all means, drop a comment in drop a comment below and let us know what crazy stories you remember, what crazy memories you have. Um, as you all know, this show is about gearing up for that 5 year cabaret in just about a month. Our 5 year cabaret is January 6th. Sorry, the actual show is January 8th, correct? I believe so. On that weekend, January 8th, 9th, and 10th, I believe, our actual anniversary of the company starting is January 6th. So that weekend, we will have our special cabaret. And what I can tell you, Miss Michaela, is that 5 year cabaret, those students and those those past alumni who are there, blowing me out of the water.
That's
They
awesome.
they share so many crazy, funny stories. Miss Michaela, I gotta tell you this one, but I'm not gonna tell you just yet.
Okay.
Sharing so many crazy, funny stories, seeing again past friends from before that you haven't seen in a while because it's just been again crazy COVID times, and everyone eventually has to leave us and graduate and go on to do their own thing. But now we're getting some of those people back, and it's really good to have them with us. The story I had to tell you, Miss Michaela, that was shared at our past cabaret rehearsal was we did a show called Assassins. So my friends who know about that show and love that show, please check out the 5 year cabaret. We have some good music from there. We were doing a show Assassins, and I was playing the proprietor, the kind of the guy who leaded the story through, alongside the balladeer, and showed up at different points in the story. And there was one moment where one of the assassins was supposed to be hanged, and our black boxes that we have throughout the studio, we used it to form like a staircase up to heaven or whatever the case may be, and it was 3 stories high. Really, we shouldn't have been standing on them, but of course, for the love of the art, we do what we can. I stood on the top box, the very top highest box, and lo and behold, out of nowhere, the structure just collapsed from under me. You're probably thinking to yourself, Mr. Jason, how did you survive such a crazy experience? I didn't freak out. I didn't panic in the moment. I literally just stood my ground, I guess, and just made sure that I like knew where like look below, make sure I knew where to jump or where to fall and stuff like that. And luckily, I landed on my feet like a cat.
There you go. Hey, that's lucky.
To this day, I thank the Lord that I'm still able to be here. So crazy little show antics like that. There's literally so many more I can talk about, but that's not why you guys are here, and that's not why we're here. We're here because we love being here, and we love you guys, and we love talking to you. So again, if you got comments and you want to drop them, by all means, share away. Um, Now, what we're gonna do really quickly, Miss Michaela, because I think the audience needs to know this. This is one of those times where they gotta know what's happening
Okay.
this weekend. Guys and dolls,
Yes.
Saturday and Sunday.
It's gonna be amazing.
Saturday and Sunday at 7 p.m. Guys, grab your tickets now. Okay, if you go to barclayperformingarts.com, you can find the link to the website, and you'll be able to order your tickets. Please, please, please grab your tickets now. You don't want to grab them at the door. You still, even though it's virtual, even though it's digital, you still get that weird, line at the door, and somehow you can't get in right on time. Okay, with technology, it's weird. You can run into a whole lot of different things. So just make sure you grab those tickets. Again, Guys and Dolls, 7 p.m. Saturday and Sunday. The cast has been working tirelessly this past month, just about a month, and I got to be honest with you, it's such a funny,
I
funny
am so
story.
excited to see it. I cannot wait. It's going to be awesome.
It is going to be one for the books, especially with, again, we're streaming it out of our studio. Me and Miss Michaela actually have some work to do after this.
Oh yes, we do.
To make sure that the studio is looking right and nice and everything like that. So make sure you support local theaters, support your local artists, and obviously support Barclay all throughout.
Yes.
Another thing we got to talk about, Miss Michaela.
Oh, I think I
And
know
this
what
one,
it is.
you want to take the lead on
Is
this
it
one?
the show the next week after?
What's the next week after? Because I don't know about it.
Oh, I don't know the exact date, but in not this weekend, but the weekend after, we have Elf, another show coming up, which is going to be also an amazing show. I got to see firsthand some of the numbers in the show, and those kids are just working so hard, working their little elf ears off. It's going to be an awesome show. You can really tell that there's a lot of heart, a lot of magic, a lot of holiday magic in this show, and I can't wait to see that show as well. 2 amazing shows are coming up, and it's going to be just such a great and fun time.
If you know Barclay, we got shows coming out of each and every corner, okay? Like she said, Elf Junior is next weekend. Please, please, please. I believe that is just Sunday, so there's only one performance. So make sure you tell your friends, you tell your families, you tell your friends, families, friends. Make sure you get the word out, because again, those kids those kids are working hard, and yes, Miss Michaela got to see some of the musical numbers that they did, and I thought she was blown away. She looked like she loved it.
It was awesome. I loved it. That's my word for today. Is awesome.
Awesome. If you need some Christmas spirit, or if you need some holiday cheer to be spread throughout the house, Elf Junior next weekend by Barclay Performing Arts. Something you don't want to miss.
Yes. And speaking of holidays, before we forget, Mr. Jason, we are going to do our holiday tradition announcement. So if you have your favorite holiday tradition and you want to share it in the comments, we would love to see your traditions. I know it was the first day of Hanukkah yesterday, so happy Hanukkah to anyone who celebrates. And yes, feel free to leave us a little comment. We'd love to hear, get in the holiday spirit this month. And yeah, I think I lost my train of thought.
Yep.
The train of thought just left the building.
Train of thought left the building, and you're still at the station.
I know what happened. It's okay.
Yeah, let me ask you this, Mr. Kayla. What are some of your did you have like a family tradition, a holiday tradition that you did for Hanukkah? You celebrate?
Yeah,
that?
I do celebrate Hanukkah. So one of our family traditions, of course, like many other Jewish families, is lighting the menorah each night. So last night we lit the menorah, the first candle of the menorah, and Hanukkah, you get 8 magical days. So every night you light another candle. So that's one of my favorite traditions. At night, lighting another candle, looking at the beautiful candles all lit up. That is one of my traditions.
Love it. I think I'm gonna spend Hanukkah with you this year.
Okay, yeah,
because
sure.
I think I lit one candle before, and that was it.
You gotta do all 8.
See, yes.
You gotta bring a little menorah for Barclay.
I'm gonna have to just live with you for the week.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Let me just.
Don't worry. I'll get a test and it.
Another. Deconstruction today. Get my hammer.
So guys, yes, like Miss Michaela said, if you want to share some of your holiday traditions that you can't go a year without, even this year, especially this year, please let us know. We'd love to share and talk about it. And again, just have everyone feel connected. Um, with that being said, Miss Michaela, I think they're done with the announcements. I think we're good. I think we're at a point where we understand what we're doing. You know what another holiday tradition is for me? I know last week I said, me and my friends like to get together and sing under a street light. Another holiday tradition that I always do is I always go to the beach on sunrise, like during the sunrise time, and just watch the sunrise at some point before the holidays are over.
That's so cute. It might be cold.
Yeah. I feel thoroughly underdressed, but I'm not gonna do it just yet. I'm gonna wait till the temperatures go up.
Yes. And they're starting to go up, so I think it might be your time.
Yeah. I love that early morning sun. It's just so beautiful. Then you hear the waves. Please don't get me started. I can go on all day. But you're not here to hear me talk about the waves and the ocean and the beautiful sun, right? You're here because BARCLAY Talks always features a past BARCLAY guest or current. They can be current as well.
Right.
Last week we had our wonderful Rosen family with Jory Rosen and Randy Rosen. We've had different cast members from She Loves Me, Ragtime, Lakash, things of that nature. And today our special guest is someone who literally is part of the paint on the walls. I have no doubt that this man has taken a paintbrush once or twice and fixed a really weird looking thing on the wall for us. Not only is he has been part of BARCLAY for what I believe is the inception. But he also helps out in so many different ways. He is a local artist, and he does a lot of work with the schools. I know he helps children record their music for thespians and districts and things like that.
Thespians, bring me back.
Listen, I wasn't a thespian until college. This man is again a wonderful pillar in the BARCLAY community. And he is someone I honestly can say I don't know where we'd be without this man. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome the musical director himself, Mr. Ed Holt.
Woo!
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Hey!
How are you, sir?
I'm just fine. Honored to be here. Thank you for inviting me to participate.
Of course. Listen, me and Christine were like, we can't do an episode of BARCLAY Talks without Ed. It just at this point.
I'll just make one quick correction for you. I do not paint. Okay. I am not an artist by that respect by any means at all. I can't even draw a successful stick figure,
You know what's crazy, Ed? We share the same thing. I can't draw a circle to save my life, but somehow I am painting the whole studio for guys with the help of Lily Rosenthal. Again, guys, Ed has been with the company, I would assume 5 years, Ed, you said?
Yeah, actually, the way it started was Christine and I have a mutual colleague, okay? And that colleague I've worked with before up at Lake Worth Playhouse.
Okay.
And 5 years ago, just right after Christine moved down here from Stewart. All right. She got in contact with me and said, "Hey, I got a friend of mine needs a musical director for a couple shows down here in the Boca area." And that's how I got in touch with Christine, was through our mutual friend Helen Buttery, is who it was. I've worked with Helen before at Lakewood Playhouse, and she's been an actor, actress, dancer, director, and so on and so forth. Some shows up there. I can't remember what shows I did with her, to be honest with you, but do so many of them, they all kind of like blend together in my head, you know. But that's how we got started with, and I actually played the first two shows that Christine ever did here in Boca, which were Fame and Schoolhouse Rock, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the very first two shows. And they were over at the Boca Black Box, okay, and it was just me on piano, okay, and the cast on stage as she was just getting the business started down here in Boca, and kind of been with her practically every show she's ever done ever since. So,
ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ed, let me share this comment with you because I know Christine again. Even though she can't be here, she didn't want to miss it.
but she's texting right now. I can see a message coming up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Before I even jump into that, Helen Buttery, you said, Mr. Ed?
That's correct. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Helen, let me say on behalf of the Barclay staff, thank you for connecting us with Mr. Ed again. This man has helped us in so many ways. So by extension, thank you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ed has music directed at the very least 50 some odd shows for us. I honestly don't know how he keeps it all together.
That's a lot of shows.
Well, the only difference is Jason and Michaela is I'm old enough to be your grandfather. Okay, so I've got a few years under my belt. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, again, Mr. Ed has done at least 50 plus odd shows with us. We've done 58 in total, I believe. 10 of them, or about 8 of them, were straight plays, and everything else was musicals. I'm more than positive Ed's name is somewhere in each playbill for the kind of work he's done for us. And you know, Ed, I want to ask you what have been some of your favorite shows to music direct? What have been like some of those like you like got the score and you just like went through and you go, what? This is great, and you just fell in love.
Well, all the scores to all the shows are crazy in one way or another. Okay, they're all kind of unique from that perspective. But as far as I remember, besides doing shows over here at Barclay, I get involved with high schools and local theater, community theater, and so on and so forth. But just for the ones I've done with Barclay here, I think probably my favorite show of all of them was A Little Night Music.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Stephen Songheim. I know everybody says, "Oh, Stephen Songheim music is hard and all that sort of thing," and I look at it as a challenge. Okay, he does some unpredictable things musically, but that's the beauty of it. Okay, he's a master at actually putting things like that together in an unusual manner. Okay, and of course, most everybody's familiar with a lot of his shows. Such as Into the Woods and others, so they're all challenging in their own way. Okay. But Little Night Music, I think was probably my favorite of them all. Plus we got to do it with live musicians. Okay. And that's always a joy.
Yes.
I love Songheim. Isn't A Little Night Music is that the one where someone dared Sondheim to write a musical all in a waltz, and then he was like, okay, and then he did it? Was that one?
Yes, yeah. There's a variety of different styles in there, okay, and that's probably the beauty of it, and the way he blends them all together, And musically, there's something called meters, okay, which means how many beats there are to a measure, okay, and there's. Even though the majority of that show is written in what they call 3/4 time, and the 3 beats per every measure, or 6 or something, okay, Songheim in that particular show makes it sound like it's in 4/4 time or something else, even though it's still written in 3/4 time. Okay, because of the way he masters the rhythms across multiple measures. Okay. So that's a beauty. That's what I liked about it. That's a challenging side from my end, because you have to understand what what was Songheim trying to do with this? Okay, why did he write it the way he did it? All right, and I love to analyze it from that perspective.
Yeah.
Musically.
I like to do that too. I like to get all nerdy and like really get into it, measure and be like, is that a motif that I heard before? I totally understand that. And he really did tell them. He said, I'm going to let you follow this before.
Michaela, you're breaking up on me a little bit. I don't know why.
Oh,
okay.
no.
Well, I mean, just your, maybe Jason's sitting closer to the mic than you are. I don't know, but sometimes I can't hear every word you're saying. So.
Yes. Do I need to project more?
There you go. Yes, that works.
All right.
The magic word, project.
Right. Use my best Shakespeare voice.
There you go. Now I can hear you clearly. All right. Thank you.
Speaking about night music, I'm somebody who doesn't really need sheet music too well. So I just remember hopping into that rehearsal process and Ed literally working his magic to where he made it palatable for someone like me. There were others who, we had a wide variety of those who could like read sheet music and understood the meters and the different things like that. And then there were people like me who was like, Ed, I just know I got to say this word when it kind of gets deep,
But you know what, Jason? Well, you're more common, okay, in especially in theater or any place else than those who can read music, okay. So that's not unusual. Don't feel like you've been inadequate or anything like that. No, the majority of people are not good, strong music readers. But they know if the notes up here on the staff or down here on the staff, it's high and low. Okay. Yeah. And eventually you start picking things up, you know what I'm saying? And everybody's like that. So don't, like I said, that's unless you do it all the time like I do, I don't expect someone to be able to be a strong reader of music. Okay.
Sometimes probably like Songheim and like basic Robert Brown,
Yeah.
Those are tricky. But they have some tricky rhythms and tricky, especially Songheim with all of his weird skips.
And
exactly. It's a little bit like conventional pop music in a way. I grew up studying classical music. Okay, so everything's very structured and so on. Okay, so everything's like very. I can't think of a better word for it, but structured. Okay, it's always the same pretty much. Okay, but then when you get into pop music, okay, what makes it fun, okay, even I enjoy pop music, okay, all right, is its interesting rhythmic aspects to it. But to see it actually printed as a score, transcribed into actual notes on a page, okay, it's hard to read, okay. And even for somebody who's been doing it all my life, like it's just plain hard to read, okay, because you don't expect, you hear it and it makes more sense when you hear it, okay. But if you don't hear it, it's like, okay, what are they really trying to do here? So actually reading it as notes on printed notes on a page is hard, okay. And but I enjoy playing it, stuff like that, because that just makes my reading skills, work. It develops my reading skills even more, okay. Because after a while, what happens is you're basically just learn how to find how music patterns and how they're scored. Okay, so I don't necessarily have to read every note on every that's printed there. Okay, within every bar, I just see it and I say, oh, I understand what they're trying to do here. Okay, and it's kind of repetitious from that perspective. Okay, so I don't mean to get in a lot of detail here, but no, don't. Like I said, most people are not strong music readers. Okay. Those that obviously have majored in music in some way or another, whether vocal performance or what have you, okay, yeah, they're going to be stronger readers, okay, but the average person in this industry is not a strong reader, okay.
And what I loved during that process of night music, because I got to tell you this, Michaela, it was one of those touch and goes. There were times where we loved each other. There were times where we were like at each other's necks. Harmony, right? Mr. Ed said it's up here. You know, and again, because the score is so hard and it's such a difficult musically, I just was so thankful that, Ed just like, he of course had the experience and knows what he's doing. He just made it to where, people who again, can read music and know what they're doing are still like, man, I'm not catching it. I don't understand the rhythm here. And obviously people like me who are like, I don't know what the rhythm is at all. I'm just saying.
You know what? You know what? From
Yeah.
my perspective, that's where I get the most pleasure.
Hmm.
Okay, and those that are not strong readers or weak music readers or what have you. Okay, um, I think I get the most pleasure when they finally get it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They understand what's supposed to be there, and it starts to click. Okay, because now as soon as it starts to click in their head, now they're not thinking. They're not thinking so much in all the details.
Hmm.
Okay, as far as the rhythm and so on and forth, because it becomes natural to them. It's almost like breathing. You're not thinking about it,
Yeah.
and that's what makes a good performance. Okay,
Mhm.
is when the you're comfortable with what you're performing. Okay,
Yeah.
you're not thinking about it anymore. You start to make it your own. Okay,
Mhm.
and you probably noticed over the years as I work. Okay, I don't mind if people take some liberties here and there. Okay, but I don't like when they take liberties if they don't understand what it is that they're doing with it first.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the important part, because once you understand the basics of what's there, okay, and then that clicks, then you can make the things your own and alter it a little bit. I know you're not going to get lost, and you're not going to get lost. And I don't mean you specifically, but
Of
the
course.
actor himself. They're not going to. They're understanding what they're doing. They're not to fit it in there, and I'm not. You've heard me use the term like an anchor point. Okay, you have to. There's places you just have to anchor to. Okay, to understand. Okay, here's how I stay in time with the music, even though I can make it my own.
Mhm.
So I think that's the part I get the most fun out of, is when somebody starts to get it. You know what I'm saying? And start to, really grasp what's going on in there, and because now I know I've done a good job teaching them.
Mhm.
You see
Mhm.
what I'm saying? To understand what's going on, because now I don't have to worry about them anymore. Okay, okay, what's going to happen during performance if they're just copying somebody else?
Right.
All right.
What I will say is the joy that comes on Mr. Ed's face when it does finally click. Because again, Mr. Ed works with all of our different cast sizes. I know in the recent years he hasn't really touched like our kid shows, our junior shows, unless he's playing live. So he'll come in that last week, but usually like our middle school teenagers, the high school and semi-professional professional productions, Mr. Ed is in the room. And again, if it's a hard script, we break it down to science where everyone understands. And as soon as it clicks, you just see, I just see Mr. Ed take his big lean back, grab his cup of Starbucks, and sips, and he's like, "Yep, another one in the books."
Exactly right.
And let me just share this comment with you because it looks like we have a little fan here.
Hi, Caroline. I've seen some messages from Christine popping up on my screen. So,
um,
just real quick here, when you asked me about what my favorite show there, Christine popped a little message up on the thing, where we had the nice little quartet for our little sound. I mean, our little night music. Okay,
yeah.
it was me on piano. I had a good friend and colleague I've known for probably now 30 years or so on cello, Miss Barbara, and then we had another violinist, Gustav, and then also another colleague of mine. He was on a sax and flute and clarinet. So it's like a little small, even though it's scored for like a 20-piece orchestra, scaling it down to 4 people, it can be a challenge sometimes. But it's gonna have to, but it's still turned out. It had a little chamber quality to it, which is not something you're used to hearing.
From 20 to 4. That's
Wow.
amazing. Let me ask you this, Mr. Ed.
Sure.
I don't know if the audience knows how extensive your knowledge well goes, like how deep your well is. And I'm saying that you're like part of the paint on the walls, and I know you don't paint, but I know you do. I know you do more than meets the eye, than just the music. Can you tell us about the tech background you have, like the tech understanding and how it translates to, theater and helping us out?
Sure, that no problem. Actually, I've been start with the music side first. I mean, I grew up studying classical music. I started learning piano when I was 5. Okay, a few years later, I added organ to that. Okay, because I'm an organist in a church. Okay, and also added violin to that when I was in my middle school and high school years. Okay, but while I was in high school, okay, my parents had moved to a different school district. Okay, moved to another high school. They didn't have an orchestra there anymore, so I didn't really get a chance to play violin in the school orchestra. Okay, they had a band, but they didn't have an orchestra. But it's okay. But I had outside activities where I could still, play my violin and so on, besides doing the piano and organ. But at the same time, when I started this new school, I was walking down the hall. I was a freshman at the time. Okay, and I walked down the hall and I see all this room with a bunch of IBM equipment in it. Okay, I said, "Oh, what's this?" I kind of piqued my interest because IBM, everybody knew IBM was. Okay, I walked by, so I stopped one day and talked to the teacher, and I said, "What is this?" I said, "Oh, this is a data processing class." Okay, I said, "Oh, that's kind of cool," So I signed up for a data processing class the following year when I was a sophomore, and so that I kind of got started in the computer business in high school. Now, of course, at that time, you're talking in the late 60s, early 70s, okay, and dating myself here a bit. What you have on your desktop today didn't even exist in someone's idea of their head. You know what I'm saying? It was well before that.
Wow.
And the equipment. Now I grew up in Detroit area, okay, up in Michigan. Sorry about that. Grew up in the Detroit area, and what the auto companies used to do up there, they used to donate their older equipment to the local schools, be it universities, high schools, or what have you. Okay, and the high school I went to. I was fortunate enough to receive some equipment. Now, what they received from the auto companies was not what you'd call a computer today. Okay, these were what they call unit record devices, basically glorified adding machines. Okay, they were all mechanical in nature. Okay, electromechanical. You may have seen pictures if you watch the old historical things regarding the the space program and so on. You would see punch cards going by, and you know what I'm saying, and all this sort of thing. Well, that's the technology that we had there in the school. All right, and I got to learn it quite well. Okay, and after I finished high school, okay, I started going to local community college. Okay, but the teacher at the school got me a job with a company called Kelly Services. Okay, which is basically a hire contractor type of thing. You know what I'm saying? But up in Michigan, they are called it Kelly Girl because typically you had contract secretaries and so on and so forth. But Kelly Services had a technical division. Okay, so he put me in touch with somebody there because a company in the area there needed somebody who knew how to deal with this equipment.
Right.
So right out of high school, I got my first job working in the computer business while I'm still doing music. Okay, because I was also playing. I was an organist in the church and so on and so forth. So I kept that up all my life. But when that finished, okay, I got into another job as a computer operator, and then moved down here to Florida, and I got actually my first programming job. Okay, in the computer industry, working for a bank in Fort Lauderdale, even though I was living in West Palm Beach. So I was commuting 50 miles a day one way to work. Okay. But that's okay. I mean, you got to do what you got to do when you're young, you know? But in those days, this was back in 1975. Back in those days, there was no I-95 between PGA Boulevard and Linton Boulevard. It didn't even exist. It was still being under construction for the very first time. So, but I lived in West Palm and worked in Fort Lauderdale. So half my commutes to Fort Lauderdale was going down US 1 or A1A if I got up early enough to drive by the beach, you know, all the way down to Linton Boulevard. Then I could take I-95 down the rest of the way into downtown Fort Lauderdale.
Gotcha. Wow.
But I did that for I mean, of course, I-95 opened up about a year and a half later or so, I think it was, because I was able to take, obviously, that. But I've been doing the computer work for all my life, pretty much, okay? I started off as a programmer at the bank, then moved into the technical side of things, we're in basically what people know as a Windows administrator or a tech administrator, from client-server business. Of course, those terms didn't exist back then, but I worked on what they call IBM mainframes, where you'd have 3,000-4,000 people using the one computer, okay, all at one time, okay, all at the same time.
And you were telling me the other day that even though it was a longer time ago, that the programming is pretty much the same.
Yeah. I mean, what I learned in high school, even though it was not technically a computer, it was still mechanically, the machines were a lot faster than people could actually do the calculations. You see what I'm saying? Manually. But the way it worked, the computers today still work the same way. Okay. The basic underneath logic and, because the computer only understands two numbers, a 0 and a 1. That's it. It's either a circuit is on or a circuit is off. It's just basically that simple. All right, underneath the covers, okay, which a lot of people don't realize it. But even the stuff that I learned back in the high school days, which wasn't even a computer yet, it worked the same way. Okay, and that still continues to work the same way today. The only difference today is obviously circuits have gotten smaller and more compact, and you got more memory and all this sort of thing. But the underneath stuff that makes it work is still the same. That hasn't changed. All right, I don't know if it ever will. Okay, be honest with you. But that's what I've been doing all my life. So my full-time bread and butter was the computer industry for like 30 years. I've been doing that for like 30 years, in addition to music, which the music I did on weekends because I was busy in church and so on and so forth. Or I do occasional show here and there if it didn't interfere with my church schedule and so on and so forth. But I did both for many, 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 many years. Then I guess probably a good 10 years, maybe a little bit more, maybe 10, 12 years ago, maybe 15 now, I got interested into how to use music, pre-recorded. Obviously, a lot of shows today are rather than using live orchestra, everything's done with pre-recorded tracks. All right. And I got to learn, I got interested in how to modify or edit, pre-recorded music on a PC. Okay, so I've been doing a lot of that sort of stuff over the years, helping out organizations such as BARCLAY or others that I've been involved with and modifying the tracks, because sometimes you might need more music for underscoring here, or you might need less music, or cut a dance number shorter or what have you. Okay, so I got involved in doing that sort of thing. So between my regular computer work that I did for 30 years, okay, and having a music background, the two kind of work together, okay. Matter of fact, I found over the years, a lot of people who were also in the computer business were also musicians as well, and vice versa, okay. Probably because of the discipline of the industry. You see what I'm saying? The music is very disciplined, and computers are very disciplined, okay, and they kind of seem to work together. Okay, not everybody, of course, but many people were. So even a lot of friends people I've worked with over the years, I've actually gigged with from time to time. Okay, all right. So the kind of work
to me.
I'm sorry.
That makes a lot of sense to me because music and music theory is very math-based, very structured, like you were saying, and so at first glance you might think, whoa, music and a computer scientist, like that doesn't really seem to click, but it really does. And how cool is it that you were able to bring your computer background, especially now? And I know you're working so hard during Descendants, getting everyone the sound right, and the many programs on the big computer, like how can you to bring that knowledge in this new digital age of theater right now because of COVID, and because you have that knowledge, BARCLAY was seamlessly able to provide this great show all online.
Well, I'd say I've never done anything like that before. That was all new to me too. Okay, But I think because of my 30-year computer background and obviously same in music and so on, okay, I understand how the two work together a little bit. So I still had to learn some new things regarding the streaming and the and all this sort of thing. But besides that, I also have a dance party corporate type band. Okay, we're for weddings and corporate events and that sort of thing too. So so I got to learn PA systems and microphones and all the things that go along with that too. Okay, and so I didn't mind bringing that kind of knowledge here to BARCLAY and help out because this is a whole different situation with the COVID going on here. Okay. We're not in theater. Normally in a theater, you'll have a sound tech there, you know what I'm saying? Handling all the wireless mics for you, blah, 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 blah. Well, here you could try to do everything from a studio. Okay. And of course, we haven't got, BARCLAY doesn't have the budget and nobody else does either for that matter, to buy 13 wireless headsets. Okay. You're talking in the thousands of dollars just in that alone, not counting the supporting equipment to make all that happen. Okay. So, so we have to find some other way to make this work. Okay. And still be presentable. Okay. Without getting too complex from that. But I did learn a lot earlier this year when we did our first shows like Descendants and Fame and so on virtually, learning how all this streaming works and how to get, sound in from what's going on in the theater, plus the people that are zoomed in virtually. Okay. That was the real challenge there. Okay. And get everybody synced up right, and because then I ran into just software bugs. Okay. Which didn't expect those bugs to be there. Okay. And all of a sudden I'm working with Ohm there. He saw like, what's going on here? Blah, 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 blah. So, well, obviously it's got to be a bug,
What's going to happen now? Amazing technology and all that. But I think, we do this big question. The big question of the BARCLAY Talks. I think it might be time for the big question. So, I want to know, Mr. Ed, why BARCLAY? What is the BARCLAY magic for you? Why do you keep coming back and you've done 50 shows? Like, what is the magic?
I love everybody that's involved here. That everybody is egoless. Okay, everybody, the people that have been involved with over the years, Christine, you, okay, and everybody else has been in and out over the years, whether they're performers or people associated with it. Everybody is egoless, I find. Okay, and I love that. Okay, people know what they know. If they don't know, they express it. I'm the same way. Okay, if I don't know something, I tell you about it. Hey, I don't know. I don't pretend. Okay, and I think that's what I like the best is you haven't got people who pretend there's something that they're not. Okay, and in this industry, whether it's theater or music or what have you, okay, there's a fair amount, I'm sure you've run into it, where people think they're better than somebody else. Okay, all right, and they've got this attitude that can be off-putting at times. You know what I'm saying? Or at least to me, they are. Okay, I'm not going to name names, obviously. Okay, but that happens. Okay, and I hope I'm not that way. Okay, I really do. And if I tend to be that way, I always try to tell everybody, don't ever be afraid to tell me I'm doing something wrong. Okay, because hey, everybody makes mistakes. Okay, people may do something they don't realize they're doing, okay, incorrectly, or just that might be annoying someone in some way. Okay, I want to know. Okay, that's not. I'm not afraid of being told, hey, you're being whatever. I'm going to keep the French out, but you know what I'm saying? But it ends with the word whole, anyways, yeah, but that's what keeps me coming back, is everybody's so down to earth. Okay. Everyday people, you know what I'm saying, I can relate to, and I'm happy they're able to relate with me as well. Okay. That's the most important thing. And I want to say hi to Todd real quick. He jumped in there with a text message. All right. No, I can't do everything, Todd. Okay, I do what I do. Okay. That's what keeps it coming back. Yeah, it's like everybody understands what their responsibilities are. Okay, everybody doesn't mind going an extra step or two or three or four or how many it takes to make sure whatever it is comes off right. Whether it's a performance, whether it's just a rehearsal, or it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Just see that everybody works together very nicely, and that's probably what keeps me coming back. Is you don't find that everywhere. Okay. There's one other place where I can say about that is Lakewood Playhouse, which I do a lot of work with up there. Same thing. Everybody's down to earth, you know, and everybody gets along with everybody. You know, there's no egos and so on and so forth. Okay, and a handful of other places too, you know. So I won't go into all the names here, but okay. But anyways, I hope that answers your question. So
no, I think you hit it right on the head. You know, we do our best to not have egos, you know, because you know, between Mr. Holm, Miss Amanda, Mr. Caleb, myself, you know, all of us actors who come through, you know, we're actors at heart, at our core, you know, and like you know, some companies across South Florida are pleasures to work with because they're so, you know, amiable, and they hold themselves to the standard, but don't lose the humane side of the art, you know. And then there's some companies who just go, you know, willy nilly and don't care about their you know, performers or whatever the case may be, you know. So, you know, Barclay, aside from being a children's academy and nurturing that side of it, we also try to make sure that, you know, our actors and our professionals, including you, Mr. Ed, you know, everyone feels, one, welcome, two, safe, and three, that they have a place where, you know, they can come in, you know, after a long, you know, hard day of whatever it may be, and can forget about it for an hour, 3 or 4, however long that rehearsal is, and, you know, just feel like they're seen and heard, which, you know, you guys are, you know, it's not.
I kind of go along with what you're saying there. I'm a musician and a tech guy. Okay, I'm not an actor. I'm not a choreographer. I can't dance at all. Okay, I've never acted in my life. Okay, I never directed and, you know, shows. You know what I'm saying, like Christine does, or Omar, whatever was directing the show. That's not my. I mean, that's not me. Okay, I have no clue what's going on there. I learn a lot by watching. Okay, but I'm not jumping in there saying, "Oh, you should do this or you should do that." That's not. That's not my background at all. Okay, I'm the musician end of it. Okay, and I'll tell you what works musically, and that's as far as I'll go with it. So,
what I want to ask you is this, Ed, is you've done 50 plus shows with us. We got that baseline.
Yep.
What shows are you excited to do in the future? What shows are you like, Christine, if you don't do this, me and you are gonna have a bad time. You need to do this.
Well, I'm looking for. Hopefully, if I don't know if people know it, and of course, I'll mention it now. Okay. The reason why I haven't been there for the past month, because a month ago I was tested as COVID positive. Okay, and my whole family was. My wife and my son were as well. Okay. Christine just had to be careful how she presented the information out there because of HIPAA laws and so on. Okay, so basically I was quarantining. Okay, which that's all she could say, but because she can't speak for me, but I can speak for myself. Not a problem. Okay, all right. So I'm okay. I'm testing negative now. Okay, my wife's negative as well. Just waiting for my son to be negative. Okay, which he should be. Okay, but we're just waiting for the next test to come along here. We're all feeling great for the past 2 weeks. No symptoms. I mean, we all came out of it. My son had it the worst, actually, and he's 27. Okay, he had it the worst of all three of us. All right, and he got it first, and looks like he's going to be the last one to test negative again. Okay.
Such a weird virus.
Yeah, so it's really kind of weird. This virus has been really kind of weird, and we've all had, other than the fatigue, we all had different symptoms. The fatigue was the only thing common between all three of us, and the fatigue was just horrible. Yeah. All right. But anyways, that's why I haven't been there. So, like I said, I wanted to shout out real quick here to give. Fortunately, Dave came on board right at the time when I was supposed to do Guys and Dolls and help out with Willy Wonka a little bit and Elf and the cabaret show here. But that's why I haven't been there. I'm not can't put anybody at risk.
Of course.
All right, especially with children around and so on and so forth. So we're being cautious at first because we didn't know what was happening. And I had to tell Christine that I was positive, obviously, okay? And the immediate staff went out and got tested. Everybody was negative. So obviously I wasn't contagious when I was there at all, okay? So that was positive from that perspective. And of course, Christine understood I can't be coming back, with any chance of me being contagious at all. Okay. All right. So this is all safe from a safety perspective. Okay. So thank God. Okay. She got in touch with David here right at the same time. And I know he's kind of jumped in both feet, sort of like what I did 5 years ago, very first time. Okay.
Definitely stepped into the fire on that one.
Exactly. But it's going to be great to have Dave on board as well, because it'll, with so many different programs that Barclay has to offer. Okay. There's only so many hours in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as you know, being a director and choreographer and so on and so forth, you can't do every show that's going on or every activity that's going on. It's impossible. Okay. You're already living there. Okay. As it is. So, but anyways, going forward here to answer your question here, if my son comes back negative here, hopefully over the next day or two, I'll be able to jump back into at least the cabaret. All right. I am looking forward to the 2 shows that we had to postpone because of COVID earlier this year, and that's Lacage and what was the other one? It was West Side. The West Side Story. Okay. Those are 2 types of shows that obviously we can't do inside the studio. Okay. You really need a regular stage and everything that goes with it, regular environment for that, which, until COVID, I'm expecting probably not till fall at the earliest we'll be able to actually look at going back and doing those full force again, because the country just has to get out of the, has to be vaccinated no matter, okay, that's just, you know what I'm saying? I understand. I got to hand it to Christine also that what she's been able to pull off during all this time, during COVID, was absolutely miraculous. Never expected to still be able to keep things going. I see you guys wearing your shields. Of course, I have a shield and mask and so on when I'm there as well. I had one. Okay. And a positive thing is Christine's been able to keep Barclay performing art COVID free all this time. Okay. Yeah. That's not easy if you look at all the numbers that have, the way this pandemic has progressed from March up until especially now.
Yeah. Okay. And I can speak a little bit on that, Ed, on that end of it, being the guy who handles all the sanitization on the hour, every hour,
right?
Administering tests, make sure that everyone knows their status and things of that nature. Yeah, it's crazy to go from at our old space before all of it. Well, even before all of this happened, people would just come in and say hi and hang out at the rehearsals and again just be able to come in and feel at home if they didn't want to go to their actual home or whatever the case may be. If we need to talk to someone, we would if it could wait till the end of rehearsal, we wait till the end of rehearsal if it was an emergency. One of the staff would step out. But to go from that, where we had a literal open door policy, to the door is always locked. You have to ring our new doorbell, and you have to temperature check, sanitize, wash your hands as soon as you come in, wash your hands as we go. All of that to go from again just being an open space to that has been sometimes I don't forget, but sometimes I'm just like, oh yeah, I have to make sure that I take these kids' temperatures. They can't just willy nilly
right.
Want, so absolutely, it's been it's been nothing short of a blessing that Barclay has been able to stay completely COVID free.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
We all as a staff have gotten tested and they've all come back negative. So yeah, it's been one beast of a procedure, but definitely it's been a pleasure. Again, having the families understand that this is just the way of the world right now. So we need those clean bills of health. We need you to be honest and upfront with us. If you're not feeling well, please, 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 let us know. Let us know what's happening. And let me just share a couple of these comments because they have been blowing up now that we've got you on the show, Mr. Ed. This goes back to just knowing that you're okay. Again, I really don't know what would happen if Barclay didn't have you. So having you here is going to be a great pleasure to have you back in the studio. David, if you're watching, I'm definitely going to shout you out when you come later. But here's a quick shout out to you. Speaking about the door being locked, again, if you need anything, guys, to the audience, please, please, please feel free to reach out to us. A lot of you have either the office number, my number, or Christine's number. In one way, shape, or form, you're gonna get a hold of us. Please email us if you ever need anything. And last but not least, Mr. Rick. I know he missed it yet.
I'm reading all the little comments that are coming up on Facebook underneath here, so I can't wait to come back. I'll tell you, I can't wait to come back because I really miss it. It's been so boring here at home. I'll tell you.
I think Christine has a quick couple of suggestions for what you might want to do.
Well, the first one, yes. The second one, no. But she knows that already. I know she's going to just give me a hard time here. So,
Mr. Ed, it's been such a fun time and such a pleasure to have you. Again, we the whole entire Barclay community, I can tell you, has missed you.
I miss being there. I miss being there. So,
and again, the minute you come back, I don't know what we're gonna do, but there's gonna be some type of way to throw a COVID safe party and just like
no, please don't, no. I don't like that sort of stuff. Okay, I mean, like,
just so you know, Mr. Gaylor, Ed hates when you throw the focus thing.
I'll just be happy I'll be able to come back. Okay, I'm just that we went through the COVID with nothing serious happening here. Okay, fortunately we were family here just was mild, thank God. Okay, that's the important thing. Nobody wound up in the hospital. Nobody died or anything like that. I really feel sorry for those that have gotten a lot worse. Okay, I mean, this is it's beyond. I mean, I'm 66 years old. Okay, so I've seen a lot of different things over the years come through. Okay, I remember when I was a kid getting the polio vaccine when I was in elementary school. Okay. Vaccinating everybody against polio, okay, and then the chicken pox, and then the measles, okay. I mean, serious illnesses, that affect pretty much everyone in the world one way or another, and this COVID's no different, okay. But as far as that, but it's just a weird virus, the way it affects everyone, okay. Polio is it was specific to things, what I'm saying. Measles is very specific, okay. This one is a weird one, okay. Everybody has different symptoms from it. Everybody reacts to it completely different. I mean, people can get it, not even know they had it, and then, be clear of it, and you never knew that. Okay, they never knew it themselves. Okay, then you have the other extreme where you got how many, 200 some odd thousand people dead already from it. Okay, and how many millions how many thousands in the hospital? So it's. To tell you this, I'm just glad we got a vaccine coming here, and but still we have to maintain all the social distancing in the meantime, so it doesn't. I mean, it's getting worse no matter what, but we're doing the best we can, obviously. So, but I can't wait to be able to come back. But I said we're all just playing it on the safe side here, which is the important thing. Okay.
Absolutely.
And the only positive thing from my end is I know I'm going to be immune to it for at least 3 or 4 months. Okay. All right. So you're not going to catch it from me when I come back, or I won't even have a chance of getting it for at least 3 or 4 months, because that's what the CDC says. They don't have any long-term studies yet, obviously, but they do know that you're pretty much protected for 3-4 months.
Right. And
Yep.
and what I'll say is that again, from the entire BARCLAY community, we're just so glad that you're okay, and
Oh,
that you were able to quarantine, keep yourself safe, your family is safe. Obviously, once you come back, we won't do a big celebration because I know you don't like it, but I can tell you that even though we'll be socially distant, you're gonna get some really giant, like, big air hugs. My friend, I'm gonna have to let you go because we have to go. But it was such a pleasure talking to you, and I hope we got to shake up your day a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for having me. This has been a lot of fun. And I know it could easily go on for another 2 hours,
Well,
Yeah.
we will see you when you come back. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully it'll be this week. So keep your fingers crossed.
See you later, man.
All right. Take care. Thanks a lot, everybody. Good to see you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh my goodness. Well.
Man, when I tell you, pillar
Yes,
in the community. Again, I really don't know how fame, Descendants, Schoolhouse. I don't know how any of those shows this past year would have gone up.
It's so wonderful that he was able to bring his computer science knowledge and his music theory and music direction and all the music theory things and combine them in this crazy time.
Yes. That's why what we harp to the kids and why we sound like broken records is that theater is a multifaceted operation. Some of the weirdest things that I never thought I would use before is usable in theater, and vice versa. You know what I mean? All of the things I'm learning in theater, like, essentially I could build a house if I actually put the time and energy into it,
Right.
And that's just from learning how to hold a hammer at my intro to production class and stuff like that, So what we tell our kids is that you got to make sure that it's not only about being on stage; it's about learning the back end side of things, understanding how costumes work, how props are run, light, sound, all of that jazz. It's not something that just is there and it happens. Mr. Ed is a phenomenal example of that. The music, he gets it down to a science so people can understand it and are able to sing it. And then he brings it all together with the tech end. There's been many a time even before COVID where Ed will help us out with our sound during shows and stuff like that. So when you understand the full scope of what theater is and not just what's on stage, there's so many. I mean, marketing in and of itself is just amazing.
I mean, not even just theater and the backstage of theater, but I mean, I like to think that we're all people first before we're performers.
Yeah.
And so to be a good artist and to be a well-rounded artist, we need to, find out what we like as people, but that's not just theater because, we have other interests, other passions, and really explore those. Like, not even, it can be, theater music related, but look at Mr. Ed with computer science and music and how they just fit somehow. I mean, I really do believe that we are people first, and then, we're artists, we're performers, we're actors and all that fun stuff.
Yep. And speaking of which, Miss Michaela, here's a quick little surprise from Miss Christine herself. It looks like we got some new classes coming up, specifically talking about music theory. Those T's, those MTs, they really get you. You want to sign up for these classes because again, we as much as we love putting on shows and we love making sure that kids have a fun time, the understanding and the knowledge that they gain from the training is just, something you can't replace. It's something you really can't replace, and will only make you better in the future. Because Miss Michaela, doesn't your music theory understanding help you in songwriting?
Oh yeah, 100%. And not even just in songwriting, but also for when you get into an audition, you get into a callback. Sometimes they just hand you the sheet music and they're like, "Oh, you have 10 minutes to learn it. Go learn it, and then come right back." And that often happens in big Broadway calls, big Broadway auditions. Music theory is very, very important for all aspects of theater, music. If you want to do anything life, I mean, even it is a great skill because it does involve some math, some basic critical thinking, on your feet skills. So even if you just want to like make yourself a little bit smarter, get your reflexes a little bit going, music theory will definitely do that.
Yeah, I cannot stress enough how important the classes here at Barclay are, especially to the growth of your performer, your child star, your child performer. The shows are one thing. Come in, have fun. You can even do both in tandem. You can do shows and classes, but the amount of training you're going to get from doing things like clowning, acting with Mr. Ohm, musical theater with Miss Michaela, even our Broadway babies get introduced to certain skill sets. Every level there is something for everyone, and we want to make sure that your kids get the proper training, that they can walk out of here confident and ready for the world. Not only on the theater side, but also in life. So I think we've talked enough about these classes. Be on the lookout. Our next registration, our next round of registration is going to open up fairly soon, towards the end of January. So, start talking to your kids now. Start figuring out what they want to do. If you have any friends who would like to join us, please let them know. We got different things happening right now, and that they should definitely check us out. Come see what we're all about. Come join us for Guys and Dolls this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, 7 p.m. Tickets are on sale. You do not want to miss it. You can find tickets at BarclayPerformingArts.com, and it'll show you where you need to go, what you need to do. Elf Jr. is next weekend. Excuse me. We'll talk about that next weekend. I know me and Miss Michaela will probably come dressed as Santa and Elf. I'll be the elf. Or I can be the reindeer. You know what? I'm going to be a reindeer. I called it. I said it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about that next weekend. But please, Guys and Dolls this weekend. Elf Jr. next weekend. And again, we'll see you guys next week for some more fantastic guests and another awesome talk show. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Michaela, any final words?
Happy holidays.
Yes, and the final word for me is stay safe. Happy Friday. Enjoy the weekend.
Yes.
All right, guys, we love you, and we'll see you later.